All right, this is the second half of Original Bacon New Comic Book Wednesday, part two. I don't know if I even said New Comic Book Wednesday on my beginning of my last episode. I was just really happy about all these new issues that I got. Um, First off, to link to the other issues, we have Axis issue 1. Apparently, in Doctor Doom and Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch ended up using control power and chaos power, and to try and they tried to bring Xavier's mind out of the Red Skulls and basically bring him to the surface so he could help them and shut down Red Skull. And instead, they basically switched. So all superheroes, after they woke up, are now very villainous, and now all villains are superheroes. And like I showed earlier in a last Comic Book Wednesday, where Carnage, one of the most evil characters ever, was saving people as the friendly neighborhood Carnage. All right, at the beginning of this episode, we have Nova and Spider-Man, and they're going to Avengers Tower. Last issue of Nova, they ended up Nova ended up getting a phone call from Captain America telling him to come to New York. They're having a meeting of the Avengers, and in this we find out that Sam only has his trusted Avengers up on the second floor, and that he wants to capture all of the other Avengers. Apparently he has drained Wanda, Havoc's wife, and the Wasp, of her Pym particles, and uses the Pym particles to miniaturize all the Avengers and capture them. Spider-Man and Nova get away, and they almost get apprehended by Medusa, and Sam, or new Captain America, the Falcon, try and stop Spider-Man and Captain America. And Wanda is evil, and she ends up going after them too. And apparently they get saved by Magneto, who ends up taking him to... Now Magneto is working with Captain America and Captain America's son, and now Spider-Man and Nova are on their side. But they end up finding out that the Hulk is attacking Arizona, and then Nova goes to go fight the Hulk, and so they have to go after them. Meanwhile, Apocalypse... Nova goes off to attack the Hulk, as we saw in this issue of Nova. Maybe I should have done this issue first. And so we find out that, meanwhile, the Avengers Tower is being attacked by Apocalypse and the X-Men. And they have come to... They witness Sam draining the last of the Pym particles from Janet, and they find out that the X-Men are here to take over Avengers Tower, and they thank the Avengers for miniaturizing all of the other Avengers and capturing them, making it so much easier so the X-Men could take over Avengers Tower. Rogue ends up smacking the new Captain America with a giant couch, I believe, or counter. And Apocalypse tells Sam that he needs to go find the rest of the heroes, and to tell all of his human companions to evacuate New York. That Manhattan is the first piece of humanity that is being taken by the mutants, and that if any humans are left in Manhattan by the next day, that the X-Men will slaughter them all. So the X-Men are going crazy, the Avengers are going crazy, and so we'll find out what happens next. This issue comes out weekly, and I actually like it quite a bit. It's a pretty cool little story. Along with one of my other favorite stories that's coming out almost weekly, the SpiderVerse. First off, we have an introduction by this guy. This is the master weaver of the web, and he builds this web, and it's protected and maintained by the SpiderMan of all the different universes. The first universe we go into is the Ninja Manga-verse Spider-Man, where he is a ninja that was trained by his sensei Uncle Ben, and his sensei and his older brother Venom ends up killing Uncle Ben and taking back the dojo, and I guess he hasn't gone back to battle his brother and avenge Uncle Ben in this yet. Venom tries to stop him, and he ends up fighting his brother Venom for a little while, and then his brother Venom ends up being subdued while just in time to save Ninja Spider-Man, and he gets asked to join the warriors of the other dimensions, the other Spider-Man. Meanwhile, we have a steampunk Spider-Woman in like a Victorian time, and she has this crazy looking suit, really cool looking, and she ends up fighting like a steampunk looking Electro, and then he ends up being helped out by a Sinister Six. There's Kraven the Hunter that looks kind of like the hunter from Jumanji, and then we have a Vulture, we have Mysterio, we have Doc Ock and the Green Goblin, and they all attack her, and she ends up saving this doctor, and it doesn't say what happens to her. Next we have this little cartoon where apparently this is like a candy commercial, because Spider-Man's throwing candy at the devourer of Spider-Man, and he just ends up eating the soul of the Spider-Man and saying that it's very sweet. And then we have this Spider-Verse where Mary Jane and Peter are girls, and it's very kid-like. There's a spider biting her, and she ends up being all grossed out, and she ends up saving Flash Thompson. She ends up saving Flash Thompson. She makes herself a suit, which is like a paper bag and she saves Flash Thompson. And then she tells Aunt May about her superpowers, and she just wants to be normal, but they don't want to tell Uncle Ben, who is asleep on the couch. And then she ends up making herself a superhero outfit where she has a tutu, spider mask. And then meanwhile we have this. I guess this is supposed to be the serial. Probably the New York Times did Spider-Man cartoons on Saturday morning newspaper, and they eventually faded away. So Morbius is, everything just kind of keeps on repeating. I guess it's just like a laugh at how they had to rerun the comics books all the time, and so he couldn't win the battle because Spider-Man just kept on. They just kept on re-reviewing all the past issues. And it's revealed that the Ultimate Spider Weaver, what is his name? The Master Weaver, at the end of this issue, apparently he's able to tie off certain universes so that the hunters can't kill the other universes, the other Spider-Man, and he wants to protect this comic strip world, basically, universe. And so he stops Orlin from destroying that universe. So it's revealed that the Master Weaver could save all the other universes. So we'll see if that plays into anything. And last but not least, my favorite series to collect, I've got a new issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, and we got a new all new Ultimates. We've got the all new Ultimates. Norman Osborn is attacking Miles Morales and Peter Parker. And Peter Parker and Miles go to attack him, and Miles does something. He is zapping him in his heart, and he ends up exploding basically like that. And Peter ends up giving Miles one of his web shooters. And right as Norman's trying to fly away and escape the two Spider-Men, he comes in and he kicks Norman Osborn, knocking him to the ground, fighting him like crazy. And this part's pretty key right there. There's Peter Parker and Murray Hill looking at Miles Morales, and Peter says, "Look at him," and she says, "I know," because it was revealed earlier that Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy and Aunt May believe that Miles Morales is the true Spider-Man. Which really makes me think, man, how does Peter feel about that? Jeez. But there's Aunt May, Mary Jane, and Gwen Stacy looking out the window at the final fight, and Miles Morales is kicking ass. And he tries to get up to attack Miles. Peter comes in and helps them kick some butt. They both double team this, and he's about to go and attack Aunt May and Mary Jane and Gwen when they both web shoot him and then just start punching the heck out of him. And I guess he used up all of his juice because he just kind of falls to the ground. And Peter and Miles end up taking the girls to a location to talk, and then Marie Hill ends up putting this fiery bush onto Norman Osborn and shooting him in the head multiple times since he's weak and can't deflect and it's believed that Norman Osborn is dead. And Peter reveals that he trusts Miles Morales to take on the role as Spider-Man now, and he's going to go find out what he can do with his life, and that he's going to leave. And Miles is feeling really good. Meanwhile, we find out that Miles's girlfriend, her reveal is that she and her parents are Hydra. That was the big secret there. And Mary Jane is leaving with Peter Parker to be together. And another crazy twist, Miles is sleeping, and it's revealed that his father came to visit him and that they need to talk. Crazy issue. This series is going a mile a minute. Super excited about where this series is going. Brian Michael Bendis does a really great job writing this series. There used to be 3 Ultimate series out, but they just canceled the Fantastic Future Foundation. This is the last issue that I got. The Ultimates. Bombshell is thinking of joining back with the Ultimates again. Little does she know that the Ultimates are being hunted down, and that Cloak and Dagger have already been captured. Spider-Man goes to save some civilians. This girl shows up. She is one of the bosses of the Serpent Society, and she has the hots for Miles Morales, and so she goes to talk to him up on the roof, and they're taken down by Taskmaster, is capturing all the Ultimates. Jessica Drew has had Kitty Pryde staying at her house. They both are leaving, and Kitty Pryde is moving away to go stay with her mom. Taskmaster ends up... I thought that he was just shooting them and they were all dead, but I guess he's tranquilizing them all. Meanwhile, this guy that came back from the dead is... I guess they're going to go underground and become vigilantes with the cops. And I don't know what's up with this dude, but I guess I need to reread some of my issues because I don't remember what those guys are. I believe they are some of the founders of Roxxon Industries, so they're just some evil scientist people. And meanwhile, Bombshell shows up to Jessica Drew's house to talk with Kitty Pryde and rejoin the Ultimates. And meanwhile, she hears Taskmaster trying to talk his whoever hired him into more money for taking down all of the Ultimates, and she blasts her way in. And apparently, Taskmaster is able to take on the powers of anybody who he is battling. But he gets away. He has all the Ultimates in his van. But some guy steals his van. He ends up going after the guy who's stealing his van. And now Bombshell is after him, who is after the guy who's stealing his van. So hopefully Bombshell is able to take down Taskmaster and is able to get the van and recover all of her friends. I'm really glad that I seem to think that they just tranquilized. Here's the cover for the next issue. But I'm really glad that they have revealed that Taskmaster was just shooting the Ultimates, because I really like Cloak and Dagger. They were probably my favorite out of all of the new Ultimate superheroes. And so I've got some really good issues. Thank you for watching Original Bacon. Sorry, this episode was extremely long. I was trying to keep them short, but I ended up with some really long episodes on this last one. Thank you, and have a great day.